Divine peace to everyone watching me at this moment. What I'm about to reveal is not a simple video. It's a coded message directly from the heavens to you who are watching me. Yes, you. It wasn't a coincidence that you found this channel today. The angels instructed me during last night, while Vancouver slept under a blanket of stars, that there are specific people who needed to hear this urgent message about a supernatural transfer of resources that is occurring at this exact moment. The celestial coordinates were specifically aligned for this revelation. What I'm about to share goes beyond physical money. We're talking about a movement in the spiritual world that directly affects the material plane. While you slept during recent nights, while the lights of Toronto, Montreal, and Halifax turned off one by one, an invisible force has been working tirelessly, moving resources, opening doors, and preparing a transfer of wealth that has your name written on it. I noticed that many of you watching now have felt an inexplicable restlessness in recent weeks. Some have woken up in the middle of the night for no apparent reason. Others have repeatedly dreamed of numbers of doors opening or of unknown people delivering packages or envelopes. These are not coincidences, they are preparatory signs. The financial system of the universe knows you by name. The cold Canadian nights have been silent witnesses to this spiritual movement. You know that feeling that something important is about to happen. That expectation you can't explain? It's the sign of abundance knocking at your door. The temperature has begun to change around you, and I'm not just talking about the climate of the Canadian provinces. I'm talking about the spiritual atmosphere that surrounds your life. 3 months ago, during an intense prayer session on the shores of Lake Ontario, I received a clear vision about celestial transfers of resources. I clearly saw how some people were being prepared to receive an inheritance that transcends earthly generations. An inheritance that doesn't necessarily come from your physical ancestors, but from spiritual lineages you don't even know. Names were written in a large golden book, and your name pulsed with a different light. The angels responsible for material prosperity in Canada, those who influence everything from the abundant harvests of the prairies to the financial flow of Bay Street in Toronto, have been working tirelessly to redirect certain flows of abundance. Like the rivers that cut through the Canadian provinces, the St. Lawrence, the Fraser, the Mackenzie wealth is changing its natural course to flow into new territories. And your home, yes, your physical and spiritual address was marked as a point of arrival. Did you know that there are financial portals in the spiritual world? Just as the famous Niagara Falls connect two Great Lakes, there are connections between the celestial world and our banks, investments, and financial opportunities. For years, these connections have been blocked for many. Like a frozen river in the harsh winter of northern Canada, the flow of abundance was interrupted by spiritual obstacles. But something extraordinary is happening now. A supernatural thaw has begun. When I received this revelation, I was in a moment of retreat in Whistler, British Columbia. The imposing mountains around me seemed to whisper ancient secrets about hidden riches. I'm not talking about literal gold or silver, although for some it may also manifest in that form, but of a divine repositioning that will bring resources to your hands. The same pure air that descends from the Canadian Rocky Mountains now carries seeds of prosperity that are being planted in your financial backyard. You see, the economy of heaven doesn't function like the economy of Canada or any earthly nation. While the Bank of Canada worries about interest rates and inflation, the celestial vaults operate under principles of divine timing and spiritual destination. And the moment has arrived now. Not tomorrow, not next month. Now is the marked time for you. The postal code of your blessing has finally been processed in the divine delivery system. Have you ever wondered why, despite all your effort, knowledge, and dedication, there seems to be an invisible ceiling over your financial life, as if there were a hidden hand preventing you from exceeding a certain level? It's not your imagination. There is indeed a battle in the spiritual world for your financial advancement. From the cold Atlantic provinces to the Pacific coasts, many Canadians feel the same mysterious limitation. The problem goes beyond the current economy, beyond the inflation that has pressured family budgets in Montreal, Calgary, or Ottawa. It goes beyond fluctuations of the Canadian dollar or the overheated real estate market of Vancouver and Toronto. We're talking about resistance of a spiritual order. Just as the harsh winter freezes the lakes of Quebec and Ontario, invisible forces have kept your resources frozen. But the thaw is beginning. Can you hear the sound of ice breaking? Joseph Lambert, a businessman from Edmonton, recently told me how he had worked tirelessly for 15 years to expand his business, but always ran into inexplicable obstacles. It was as if every time I approached a major breakthrough, something happened to pull me back, he confided. What Joseph didn't realize was that his name was on a list of people marked for a supernatural financial redirection. 3 weeks after our conversation, he called me at 5 a.m., barely able to contain his excitement. An investor he had never contacted reached out offering exactly the capital he needed. And I want to ask you now, have you felt the same mysterious resistance? Have you woken up in the middle of the night with thoughts about your financial situation? Please share your experience in the comments below. Your story might be the connection point for others to recognize the signs they are also receiving. The truth is that you are designated for a much higher level of prosperity than you are experiencing now. Just as maple syrup needs to flow freely from trees to be harvested in its fullness, your financial abundance needs to flow without impediments. But adverse forces have literally built dams in your river of provision. Some of you have even dreamed of dammed water, clogged pipes, or locked doors, all spiritual symbols of this financial obstruction. Marie Tremblay from Quebec City is an impressive example. For years, she repeatedly dreamed of a large frozen lake. In the dream, she knew there were abundant fish under the ice, but couldn't reach them. After understanding the spiritual meaning of this dream and taking the correct measures, in less than 60 days, she received 3 business opportunities that completely transformed her financial reality. The ice finally melted in her life. If this message is touching something deep within you, it's not by chance. If you're feeling a chill while listening to me speak, it's the spiritual recognition of a truth your soul already knows. This channel doesn't exist by coincidence. It was established as a connection portal for people who are on the celestial list of supernatural financial transfers. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, this is the perfect moment to become part of this chosen community. Each subscription is like lighting a lamp on the spiritual map, signaling that you're ready to receive your portion. As we say here in Canada, it's like preparing your sleigh before the first snow. You need to be ready when abundance starts to fall. Click the subscribe button now. It's not just a digital gesture, but a spiritual declaration of readiness. Did you know that there are people who are divinely positioned to be channels for transferring wealth to others? In Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, and in all provinces of Canada, there are individuals who have been prepared to be financial bridges. Entrepreneurs, investors, even ordinary people who will suddenly feel an inexplicable compulsion to bless others. Some of you will be surprised by strangers offering opportunities, by unexpected checks, by inheritances you didn't know existed. Andrew Wilson, a university professor from Winnipeg, told me about an inheritance he received from a great uncle he barely knew. The most intriguing part: in the week before the lawyer's notification, he had dreamed of an elderly man giving him a box full of keys. The celestial timing of his blessing had arrived, and the dreams were just the beginning of the manifestation. I want you to reflect now. What signs have you been receiving? Have you frequently found coins on the ground? Have you repeatedly seen certain numbers or sequences? Have you dreamed of water, of doors opening, of people handing you packages? Share this in the comments. Let's build this tapestry of celestial signs together. There are natural cycles in the spiritual world that govern both scarcity and abundance. Just like the seasons in Canada, the financial and spiritual life of all of us goes through moments of renewal and prosperity. Now, we are experiencing the arrival of a spiritual spring, a period of release of financial blessings that have long been blocked. Imagine a river that was blocked by rocks and obstacles. For years, the water, the spiritual and financial resources couldn't follow its natural course. But now, the rocks are being removed one by one, and the flow of abundance is finally released. This is the moment we are living, a supernatural thawing, bringing financial opportunities from unexpected sources. The spiritual system operates differently from the traditional financial system. While Canadian banks worry about interest and inflation, the celestial system moves in divine cycles and spiritual landmarks. Today, the angels have intensified their action, realigning resources and opportunities for those who are prepared to receive them. These abundance cycles don't happen in a linear way, like a simple sequence of events. They are like the melting of snow in the mountains, which brings renewal and growth of new resources. The season of scarcity is ending, and now the seeds of prosperity that were planted are beginning to bloom. The celestial movement of the angels responsible for financial prosperity has accelerated since the beginning of this year. What before seemed distant or blocked is now flowing to you with surprising ease. This is the moment to see spiritual connections materialize in your practical life. Just as in 2010, when the world faced a major economic crisis, after the storm, there was a reconstruction now. We are living a moment of great financial transformation for those who are spiritually prepared. You may have noticed in your dreams or in your daily life that something important is about to happen. Perhaps you've seen numerical sequences like 111 or 222, or perhaps you felt a growing energy around your financial life. These aren't just signs, they're spiritual confirmations that the blockage is being removed and the resource flow is going in the right direction. The cycles of the moon and other cosmic movements always influence what happens in our material world. The angels of prosperity are releasing the spiritual blessings that were frozen. And what happened with the famous Canadian winter snow is now happening with financial resources. The ice has begun to melt, and you are about to reap the fruits of this change. I remember a story of Marie Tremblay from Quebec City, who for years dreamed of a large frozen lake. She knew that abundance was there beneath the surface, but couldn't reach it. After understanding the spiritual meaning of this dream and applying the correct actions, in less than 60 days, she received 3 business opportunities that completely transformed her financial reality. The ice broke and prosperity finally flowed into her life. What is happening now isn't just a coincidence. The celestial movement we're seeing reflects a real change in the flow of spiritual and financial wealth. The spiritual blockage that prevented abundance from reaching you is disappearing, and the resources that were spiritually aligned are now manifesting in visible ways in your life. Like the ice in the mountains of Whistler, which slowly melts during spring, the spiritual barriers are being removed, and a new flow of prosperity is on the way. Divine forces have worked incessantly to prepare this moment, and now is your time of harvest. Given this revelation about celestial movements of wealth toward your home, what should you concretely do? How to position yourself to not only receive, but maximize this supernatural transfer? Allow me to share practical guidelines for this decisive moment. First, you need to align your interior with this new reality. Just as farmers in the prairies of Saskatchewan carefully prepare the soil before planting, you need to prepare your heart and mind. Begin by eliminating all negative declarations about finances. Phrases like, "I never have enough money," "It's so difficult to prosper in Canada today," Or, with this weak Canadian dollar, it's impossible to advance, should be completely banned from your vocabulary. Replace these statements with affirmations aligned with the celestial movement that is occurring. Each morning, even before checking your phone or having your coffee with maple syrup, declare aloud, "While I slept, divine forces moved wealth in the direction of my home. I am positioned to receive supernatural abundance today." The spoken word has creative power. Use it to harmonize with the celestial flow that is already in motion. Alexandra Chen, an accountant from Richmond, BC, began practicing positive declarations every morning for 5 minutes. After 21 consecutive days, she received a proposal to participate in a project that represented exactly triple her monthly income. It was as if the universe responded directly to my words, she confided to me during our last meeting in Vancouver. The second practical step involves your night dreams. I've already explained how many revelations and signs are being sent during sleep. Keep a notebook beside your bed and immediately record any dream you have, no matter how insignificant it seems. The angels of prosperity frequently use symbols that might seem disconnected at first: running water, keys, doors, stairs, moving vehicles, or unknown people delivering packages. Robert Mackenzie from Halifax had been repeatedly dreaming of an anchored boat that couldn't depart. After understanding the symbolism of this dream anchored resources that couldn't flow in his direction, he took specific spiritual measures. 2 weeks later, his small import business received an international partnership proposal that tripled his revenue in 3 months. Third step, you need to create physical space for prosperity. According to ancient spiritual principles, similar to Feng Shui teachings, but with a celestial dimension, physical clutter creates obstructions to supernatural flows of resources. Dedicate time this week to especially organize your office, your wallet, and any places where you deal with finances. Throw away old papers, outdated bank statements, unnecessary receipts. They carry the energy of past scarcity. Many people in Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver who followed this simple guidance reported impressive financial coincidences in the following days: unexpected phone calls with proposals, accidental meetings with strategic people, or the resurgence of opportunities that seemed lost. It's as if the physical act of creating space opens spiritual portals for new resources. Fourth, position yourself in places of flow. Just as experienced fishermen from the Atlantic or Canadian Pacific know exactly where to cast their nets, you need to identify where abundance is flowing most intensely at this moment. In practical terms, this means frequent environments where prosperous people gather, even if virtually. Webinars, positive online groups, constructive community events. Study content about growth and abundance daily, not just financial, but spiritual. Cultivate relationships with people who already operate at your destiny level, not your current level. When Jacques Lemieux from Quebec City began attending a group of local entrepreneurs, even feeling out of place initially, in less than 2 months, he had formed partnerships that transformed his small artisanal maple syrup business into an operation with export potential. It was as if I had entered a river current that was already flowing in the right direction, he explained. Critical fifth step, prepare to receive in unexpected ways. Many people miss financial blessings because they are expecting them to arrive in predetermined packages. You might be fixed on the idea of a specific promotion at work in Toronto, when your advancement will come through a contact in Calgary that you don't even know yet. You might be focused on a certain investment when your supernatural transfer will come through an inheritance, an innovative idea, or an unexpected partnership. Open extra bank accounts, update your resume, organize your legal and fiscal documents. Just as Canadian provinces keep roads clean and unobstructed even before snowstorms, prepare all paths through which resources can reach you. An extraordinary story is that of William Morrison from Edmonton. He updated his professional profile online, even though he wasn't actively seeking a new job. 3 days later, he was contacted by a company from Montreal that was looking for exactly his skills for a temporary project. The 3-month job paid more than his previous annual salary. If I hadn't updated my profile in that specific week, the opportunity would have passed me by, he acknowledges. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, develop a steward mentality, not an owner mentality. The riches being directed to you have a greater purpose. Just as the vast forests, lakes, and natural resources of Canada are managed for the benefit of future generations, the resources you will receive should flow through you, not just to you. Establish now a commitment on how you will use part of your new prosperity to benefit others. This prior commitment opens the celestial channels even more, as it demonstrates that you understand the true purpose of supernatural resources, to bless many through one. We have reached the culminating point of this extraordinary revelation. What I began to share is not just a message of hope, it's a prophetic proclamation aligned with real celestial movements that are occurring at this exact moment. As each star shines over the vast Canadian territory, from the coasts of Newfoundland to the mountains of British Columbia, angelic entities are redirecting flows of resources on a scale never before seen. The financial blessing coming your way is not small. We're not talking about a few more Canadian dollars at the end of the month. We're talking about a change of level, a complete realignment of your financial reality. For some who are watching me, it will be like the contract that allowed the construction of the Canadian Pacific Railway, a transcontinental connection of resources that will completely transform your economic landscape. For others, it will be more like the discovery of the oil sands of Alberta resources that have always been there, but that will suddenly become accessible through a new technology or knowledge that will reach your hands. And for still others, it will be like the transformation of small cities like Toronto and Vancouver into global metropolises, a process of expansion that, although gradual, leads to a final result unrecognizable in its magnitude. Remember, this is already in motion. Angels don't operate in chronological time like we do. The while you sleep of the title of this message is literal during your night rest. Celestial forces are realigning financial structures, influencing decisions, and preparing transfer channels. Your restless dreams, your sudden inspirations upon waking, that idea that seems to come from nowhere during your shower, these are all manifestations of this spiritual movement. I am receiving at this exact moment, as I speak to you, a specific prophetic word. For 21 people who are watching this message, a significant financial transfer will occur in the next 21 days. I don't know who you are, but you will know because you will feel an inner confirmation as you hear these words. For another 70, the process will be a bit longer, 40 to 70 days, but the magnitude will be proportionally greater. The most extraordinary thing is that, for many, the transfer will come through connections that don't even exist yet. People you don't know yet have already been spiritually instructed to seek you out. Some of these people are in other Canadian provinces, others even in other. The celestial banking system is not limited by geographical borders. Just as technology allows instant electronic transfers between Vancouver and Halifax, supernatural resources can reach you from completely unexpected sources. I want to share one last testimony. Elijah Winters, a retired professor from Winnipeg, watched a message similar to this approximately 1 year ago. That same week, he received a call from a lawyer in Toronto informing him that an old college colleague whom he barely remembered had died without heirs and left him as the beneficiary of a substantial insurance policy. The person who called me said they had an enormous difficulty locating me and almost gave up several times, but felt they needed to complete this task at all costs, reported Elijah. This is not an isolated story. I am receiving weekly reports from people, all over Canada, from Victoria to St. John's experiencing inexplicable financial coincidences after understanding the principle of supernatural transfers that occur while we sleep. The movement is accelerating, and you are at the epicenter of it. Your subscription to this channel is not a simple digital preference. It's a spiritual declaration that you recognize your place in this celestial movement. When you click the subscribe button, it's as if you raised a flag over your house, visible in the spiritual realm, signaling, I am ready to receive. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. This simple gesture aligns you with the flow that is already in motion. I also want to ask you to share in the comments any sign, dream, or financial coincidence you have recently experienced. Your testimony is not just for you, it may be the confirmation that someone else is waiting for. Just as Canadian communities come together during harsh winters to ensure everyone is warm and safe, let's create a community of testimonies that strengthens everyone. And finally, a question for you to reflect on and comment. Did you feel a special connection to this prophetic word? Did you notice chills, inexplicable emotion, or a sensation of inner confirmation while I was speaking? This is not common human emotion. It's your spirit recognizing a truth that resonates with your destiny. Share this experience in the comments. As I close this message, I clearly see that for many of you, this was the final word you needed to hear before a tangible manifestation in your lives. Like the last snow melting with the arrival of the Canadian spring, the last obstacles are being removed from your financial path at this exact moment. Remember, while you sleep tonight, a divine force will be moving wealth toward your home. Prepare yourself to receive. Your harvest time has finally arrived.